undergraduate and postgraduate program. At the Department of Radiotherapy, she runs the unit of psycho-oncology. Can I have a round of applause for her? She is the foundation president of Psycho-Oncology Society of Nigeria, POSN, Association for Psycho-Oncology in Africa, and member of the International Psycho-Oncology Society, IPOS. She is working hard to spread the practice of psycho-oncology throughout Nigerian university and Africa. She is married to Professor Michael Asuzu, a community physician and epidemiologist. They are blessed with 5 children. She is a Christian and a Catholic woman, and belongs to some church societies, such as Catholic Women Organization, Christian Mothers Association, of which she is the current national president, Family Life Education, and Sacred Heart of Jesus and Immaculate of Mary. May you please join me as we celebrate a teacher, a problem solver, a mentor, a counselor, a beautiful woman in and out, a mother and a wife, our very own Professor C. Chioma Asuzu.
Director in person of Professor Abiodun Otebayo, the Chairman, Director of Clinical Services and Research and Training, Dr. Victor Akimolayo. I'm sorry. Akimolayo. I'm sorry, sir, for wrong pronunciation. Director of Administration, Mr. Yemi Shingabola, presented by, and I wish to thank Dr. Onyewa, who has asked me to do this. I accepted to do this because of her, because she came to me very, very late. And because of the love I have for her, I have to accept to do this. Because it is not very easy for me. The CMD will bear me and all the learned people here. As the current head of the department, I was telling her yesterday I cancelled my 9 o'clock lectures. I cancelled my 12 p.m. assignment. I cancelled almost everything to be here. And as I was coming, people were still calling me. Even as I'm seated, I have ignored calls. And I have to do that because I started as a nurse. And as a nurse, you will always be. I started as a nurse, and I'm proud to be a nurse. Because nothing gave me the foundation of who I am today, and who I will continue to be. Because the CMD remarked, I remember those days in Southwest 4. And I can say I must also give remark when I was getting very irritated at a particular time because of my restless nature of trying to do something and achieve something. And I remember the person that calmed my restlessness, no other person than Professor Michael Asuzu. always remember. He said, why do you come back home always complaining? What do you do between 2 and 4 p.m.? Tell me what you do. That is the time you are supposed to do nothing. That is the time you're supposed to go to the bedsides of the patients to find out what they need that you couldn't give them when you are doing the routines. That is the time you go back to find out, to counsel them. And he was able to bring out the inborn counseling in me. And I started enjoying nursing. And I started going to the patients to find out what they need extra. When they call nurse, and they say, I'm coming. Go back to them and talk to them. Go back to them and infuse hope and trust in them. Go back to them and show compassion. And I started doing that, and I started enjoying nursing. And there and then, I needed skills in counseling to be able to carry out those duties. And that's the beginning of what I am today. Even when I did counseling psychology, I insisted that my PhD will be in clinical psychology so that I can come back to the hospital, so that I can listen to the patients now. And there I was giving individualizing counseling supportive therapy without knowing that I was doing that. And all nurses do individualized and group counseling psychotherapy, but we didn't know the name. But that is what it is. You could see that nursing is at the center, and it's at the center of health. And without nursing, there is no health. Without nursing, there is no health. Without nursing, medical personnel cannot go anywhere. They rely on us to do everything for their work to be successful. You can imagine surgery. After surgery, what can become of surgery without an intensive care nurse? Nothing. And so, and I think at the end of this workshop, which we're already doing, let us lay claims to what we have been doing. Let us lay claims to our data. A lot of data, but we need a lot of skills in research and data management to be able to translate it into action, into outcomes that will benefit our nursing skills. Furthermore, I want to say that nurses who deliver excellent nursing care implement nursing in a professional and competent manner, demonstrate holistic approach to caring, possess certain personal qualities which enhance practice, relate to patients, families, peers, hospital administrators, and community members in a cordial manner. Excellent nursing practice is the dynamic process that integrates the best theoretical and practice in each client or patient. It gives the ability to promote health and well-being throughout the health continuum. In the individual, the family, and the community. Excellence involves either excellence in research, either excellence in clinical practice, either excellence in leadership, requires caring in action, and is fundamental to the achievement of optimal care outcomes for the patient, for the registered nurse, and for the system. Nursing excellence demands compassion, commitment, continuing education, practice, evidence-based outcome, and peer review. Colon et al. Identify some parameters for excellence, such as professionalism, and as we know, Pavaco 1971 had identified professionalism as that which the nurses need to move forward. And we have almost identified some criteria for professionalism, which includes autonomy, knowledge, ethics. And nurses has a lot of these, and are also reaching some of the parameters. But I think autonomy, we are getting there, but not fully there. We have to conduct research into some of these outcomes. We are sitting on data as nurses. Why is it that we are not conducting research to know about nurse-patient ratio in terms of administration, in terms of admitting patients? I'm sure if we have 2 nurses on duty and the doctors want to send in some patients, and if you say, according to the findings of my research and so, I found out that only 2 nurses can take care of 10 bedded ward. Because we are in the world of evidence-based. And the doctor may go and report to the CMD, and the CMD say, oh, is the nurses saying that we have to have a closer look at that? What is the implication? Implication is that more nurses need to be employed. But we cannot be complaining without evidence. We are in the era of evidence-based. Whatever you do must be supported by your research outcome. There are so many areas you can research. You can research on psychological care of the patient. You can research on the nursing process. You can research on patient-nurse relationship. You can research on nurse-doctor relationship. You can research on perception of nursing as a profession by everybody. There are so many things you can research on. And without research, we cannot claim that we are really practicing excellence in nursing practice. So we need research. And we have been educated here. I know even in the School of Nursing, we teach research. It's not just researching, we also need to publish those researches that we conducted in very good journals, peer-reviewed journals, without which we will not be able to do anything. We need that. We need so everything we need to do, everything that we are doing, all the problems that are encountered in excellence in nursing practice, we have to research it. So when we come like this, we can find out what are the current challenges we are having in our nursing practice. Is it in roster making? Is it in the people who are really equipped to carry out the nursing care? Is it in the personnel? Is it in the environment? Is it in the equipment that we need to give out the care? Whatever it is, we have to conduct research to be able to see that this is doable. And our CMD is here. He's very supportive with his team. They will give us listening ears. There's something my husband used to tell me. Sorry, I'm always calling this man. There's something that he used to, when I will tell him, please, can you help me to call the CMA? Can you help me to call the CMD? He said, you woman, come here. Let me tell you, if you go by yourself as a woman, they will listen to you than listening to me. And you know, and I will say, why? I say, no. They will say, Mike Asusu has come again. So, go by yourself. They will listen to you. If you go and say you want to see the SIMA, he will give you listening because you know you won't give him any trouble. You will just go and he will do your own and you will go. And he will do what he wants you to do. You know, and so it is true. And I tried it a few times. When I went to see the SIMA, he just listened to me fast. He didn't waste time. And I go, madam, is that all? I say yes. Even my HOD is there. If I want him to sign something, I'll just be there. Sir, please. He said, okay, is that all? He will sign it for me and I will go. And I run away. So it's true. So whatever we need, they will do for us. They are here. They will support us. And in terms of our leadership skills, we need patience. We need patience. And I find that some of the junior nurses are afraid of the senior ones. Why? Dr. Nyama is here. All the senior ones are there. And so, we should not be. Because in these patients, I am now doing administration, and I know how tough it can be, and how irritable you can be at times. But that notwithstanding, just be patient and persevere to see them and sort out whatever it is. Because when we are working in harmony, we are going to produce good results. But if we are not working in harmony, we cannot produce any good results. And so, we need knowledge, we need skills, we need affect. In trying to get excellence in nursing, 3 key variables: knowledge, we need skills, which comes in the area of psychomotor domain, and we need affect. Knowledge, we know how we can get knowledge. Now, continuous nursing education is very important. And I learned you are going to get 3 units at the end of this session. And then, psychomotor. Nursing has already had a lot to do with activities and skills. Whatever we are we doing it well? You know now, those days we use thermometer. And then you look at it and clean it. But now they use the temperature puff. So the contact is not so much there. But whatever is there, the normal thing that we normally say, please, I want to do this to you. Please, are you free? I want to do this for you. It's very, very important, you know, for us to do that. And we find out that as nurses, we are in the heart of health profession. We hear so many things about patients. And we need to remember our nursing ethics and keep our confidentiality. I must say this, that I got to know so much about confidentiality because I'm doing psychology now. And that is, we can't practice excellence when you are very flippant with important things. And I found that when I was actively working as a nurse, why I was trying to find out, why is it that the patient kind of perceive, it's a perceived thing that they respect the doctors more. We are not comparing anything. And I've come to know why, thinking, can they come? No, because doctors keep their mouths shut. Even if it's their wife, they will not tell you anything. They will not tell you anything concerning their patients. They will keep it in their hearts. It is like a confessional seal. We Catholics, we go to confession, the priest cannot discuss it. And that's what I mean by confessional seal. It is like that for the doctors. They keep it. Why is it that if there is a patient there, somebody will run to go and say, have you seen that patient on bed in Southwest 3, on bed so and so, and you see some nurses going to look at that particular patient. It used to happen there, but I know it has stopped now. I believe it has stopped now. Yes. And if it has not stopped, my wish is that it must stop. Because without it, you cannot give excellent clinical practice. Because people will not trust you. They will not trust you. That is one thing why they trust the doctors. Even when we are doing more. When we see them, they stay with us, we stay with them 24 hours. But they cannot trust us. They cannot trust us. Because we don't conduct ourselves in a professional manner. If we are talking about professionalism and clinical practice, excellent clinical practice, we must seal our mouth when we get to certain things. Even when you get home, don't discuss with your husband. Because they don't discuss with you if you are their husband. If the doctors are there, they don't discuss with you. they will pack their face as if nothing has happened. And so it's very, very important in that. And affect means you have to have human feeling. You must be able to relate with your patient in a compassionate manner. And the nurses themselves, you help the young nurses, you teach them, you role model so that they will learn. You bring the nurses closer. I will always remember the nurses in special care baby units. That is the first place I worked as a nurse. And I was the youngest in that unit because they got very, very matured nurses. Those nurses took me as their daughters. Those nurses brought me closer to what nursing profession is all about. Those nurses were able to help me to get to today where I am. That is the way it's supposed to be. When you are working with an older nurse, and you know that that nurse is endowed, why don't you get the best out of that nurse? Because with the best, she will serve the community better. Rather than condemning her or jealousing her. That shouldn't be. So we need this affect for excellent nursing practice, whether in research, whether in leadership, whether in community outreaches. We need it, without which we cannot succeed. We need also to talk about management capacity. We look at it and discuss with the management if we need more staff. Leadership development, leadership that has to do with integrity.
I think you are saving it for the appropriate time.
If there's qualities in the workforce. But we should play these politics very well. Because politics is so important, but it should not be partisan politics. Politics for the common good of man and for everybody. And so, when it's like this, then we get the best out of whatever we are doing. Because without politics, you may not achieve as much as you need to achieve. But because there's politics in everything, even politics in the pot of soup, there's politics there. There's politics everywhere. But nurses also need to know how to play the politics so that we can get all that we need from management. We need it. But it should not be partisan politics. It should be politics that is very good, that is very healthy, so that our leaders can get the best that can affect us in every way, and we translate it to holistic care and excellent care for our patients. Having said that, I want to really round up the few things I've tried to say at this time. That Nigerian nurses should endeavor to fully professionalize themselves from every angle. And I said, we are getting there, we are almost there. We should get involved in research at the highest level. We should conduct research, vis-a-vis professionalization, vis-a-vis policy, and then we translate those research into action. We should also keep advancing knowledge, skills, affects, management, professional help from policy, and result-oriented management of the profession. We cannot do, like I said, without politics, but we need to do it very well, and so that it will affect us positively and affect our patients positively. Without which we will not, without politics, we are not getting anywhere. But we have to put politics into our education, into our professionalization, into our skills management, into our leadership, into everything that we want to do. And we want to also continue our continued education. That's the only way we can do now. And I also want to say to the management, if the nurses want to read higher, please give them time. Give them permission to go and read and come back.
Thank you very much, Ma.